Talk about a you live in a small town when moment. Last Saturday, KYCA live streamed the celebration of life for Cal Cordes. Very nicely done by Kelly and the rest of the Cordes family and everyone else who was involved in that, and certainly a fitting tribute to Cal. And for anyone who missed it, the live stream of that ceremony is up on our YouTube channel, KYCA Digital, and also on the KYCA Facebook page. So anyway, Tuesday, I had to go see my eye doctor, Dr. Geiler, and we brought up Cal Cordes' celebration of life. And what does Doc tell me? I played basketball for Coach Cordes when I was at Granite Mountain Middle School. So he starts telling me stories about his time with Cal, including this one where apparently he accidentally let slip a naughty word in front of a couple of office ladies and felt really bad about it, and he actually offered to wash their cars. And while he's doing that, Cal drove up on him, asked, "What are you doing?" And Geiler said, "Well, I felt really bad about what I said, and so I wanted to make up for it by washing their cars." So Dr. Geiler tells me Cal got out of his car, and he helped Dr. Geiler wash those ladies' cars. So pretty cool story, and it certainly says a lot about the kind of person Cal Cordes was, and he certainly will never be forgotten. And speaking of basketball, here at KYCA, we have been following former Embry-Riddle women's basketball coach Becky Burke and her University at Buffalo team and their run through the Women's National Invitational Tournament. Thursday night, they were in action against Cleveland State in the Fab Four. That's what they call that in the WNIT. And I actually got to listen to that game online. Man, ain't the internet great where you can be sitting in Prescott, Arizona, and you can listen to a game on a radio station out of Buffalo. Absolutely thrilling game. Lots of lead changes, lots of ties. But in the final 2 minutes, Buffalo played some good defense. Lanny Cornfield, she had a couple of huge steals, had some critical buckets, and the Lady Bulls got the 74-69 victory over the Lady Vikings. So today, Coach Burke and the University at Buffalo will take on Troy University in the WNIT championship game. So best of luck to Coach Burke and her Buffalo squad. Also, really enjoyed the guy who did the play-by-play for the game, guy named Sloan Martin. Upbeat, energetic delivery, informative and entertaining. Really knew how to make every single minute of that game exciting. Just my kind of broadcaster. And at one point in the broadcast, he talked about how Coach Burke is going to have to put in a ton and a half of work with recruiting because I think he said 6 of her players on Buffalo are seniors and 2 others are jumping into the transfer portal. So Buffalo is going to have to reload big time next season. Sloan Martin also mentioned one incident Coach Burke had where she called up a recruit and, said the usual, "Hey, I'd like you to come play for me at Buffalo." So what does this recruit say? Does she say, "Wow, thanks for the opportunity, Coach. When can I come out for a visit?" Nope. Instead, I kid you not, this recruit told Coach Burke, "Talk to my agent." Excuse me? Seriously, can you believe this? Talk to my agent? Okay, I'm going to tell you something, young lady. You are in high school. You don't get to pull this talk to my agent crud. First off, you haven't even set foot on a college court yet. You haven't even played a single minute of collegiate basketball. Heck, you haven't even been in a single minute of a collegiate basketball scrimmage. You don't get to pull this talk to my agent. Bravo, Sierra. First off, agents are not there to talk to your coach. I mean, what? Like if you get to that college, You're going to be in the middle of a game and the coach pulls you out for a rest, or because he or she wants to tell you, hey, you need to do a better job defending against this power forward. Here are some pointers on how to do it. Like, are you going to say at that moment, you need to talk to my agent before you pull me out because I have to average 27 minutes a game and you're cutting into that? Doesn't work that way. You know, when you tell people, talk to my agent, here, I'll give you an example. Hello? Hi, this is Rusty from Rusty's Ice Cream Parlor and Pinball Emporium. You're doing a really good job for Trivium University, and we want to use you in our advertisements to promote our business. What do you say? Wow, that sounds great. Let me put you in touch with my agent so you can hammer out the details of that contract. Yeah, that's what agents are for, to be an intermediary between you and a business, not between you and your coach. Now, look, I'm actually in favor of NIL deals. College sports, mainly at the NCAA 1 level, is a multi-million-dollar business. Actually, in fact, right now, it's probably more like a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. So why shouldn't college athletes get some kind of profit out of it, so long as it's not the schools that are paying them? A private business wants to pay them for hawking cars or steak dinners or whatever. Hey, more power to them. Besides, at that point, these athletes, when they're in college, they're 18 and over, these athletes are adults now. So they should be able to decide for themselves if they want to enter into a sponsorship deal with some business. Now, that being said, I'm aware that there are pitfalls and potential problems that can crop up with these NIL deals, and those pitfalls and problems do need to be addressed. And this is certainly one pitfall where you're still in high school, you get NIL offers, you get yourself an agent, and now you think you're a big deal. I want to say another word, but I can't on this show. Otherwise, the FCC will send one of their special ops teams here to kick down the door and drag me out of here. Well, just to complete this story about Coach Burke and this recruit, after the players said, you need to talk to my agent, Coach Burke's response was, thank you, goodbye, and she hung up. Why? Because while this recruit obviously has a lot of talent, I mean, she is being recruited by a D1 program, Coach Burke and many, many other college coaches out there realize that while you may have a lot of talent, it ain't worth it to put up with an ego and an attitude like that. High school athletes need to realize that coaches do not simply look solely at talent. Attitude also plays a big role in the recruiting process because you want someone who's going to be a good teammate, who's easy to coach, who will represent your program well, and who won't act like a putz factory and be a total pain in the butt and be a detriment to the team. Oh, and even when you are in college and if you're doing really well, you still don't say something like, talk to my agent, like you're better than everyone else. You ain't royalty, you're just a person, one who happens to be good at sports, but in the end, you're still a person just like the rest of us. All right, folks, 928-541-1016, number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. By the way, speaking of championship basketball, over on the team, 1450 AM, KNOT, today, I believe starting at noon, Final Four action for the national tournament. We've got Houston versus Duke. We've got Florida versus Auburn. That's all getting started at noon today over on the team, 1450 AM. Remember, we got that fatal four-way going on the Lisa show. I'm picking Houston. Lisa's picking Duke. Matt Hinshaw, he's picking Auburn. Drew, he's picking Florida. So who will move on? Who will be eliminated in this fatal four-way for the NCAA Final Four and the championship? Well, I guess we'll find out soon. Anyway, folks, break time here on the Roundup coming up. We're going to be talking to Prescott High School Athletic Director Missy Townsend, along with what's going on with spring sports over at Prescott. Lots and lots of Prescott athletes are going to be signing or have already signed to play at college for next season. So we're going to be talking about that on the other side of the break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here. And before anyone calls this show and speaks to me, remember, you need to go through my agent first before you can get in touch with me. Believe me, I'm kidding on that one. I just can't get over that one. Oh man. Well, anyway, hopefully I won't have to go through Missy Townsend's agent to talk to her because she's on the phone with us right now. Let's go to line one and talk with Prescott Athletic Director Missy Townsend. Missy, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us here on the show.
Good morning, John. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, Missy, I got to tell you, your athletic secretary, Bobby Yoder, she has absolutely loaded up my texts with messages about this athlete from Prescott signing and that athlete signing and this athlete and that athlete. I can't even count how many Prescott athletes I have here on my text who are going to be signing to go to college pretty soon. But I'm sure for yourself, for everyone over at the school, got to be just a huge, huge thrill to see so many Badgers being able to go on and play at the next level starting next season.
Yeah, it's super exciting to see these kids getting the opportunity to go on and play. You know, they work so hard over their 4 years in high school and their whole time growing up to get them to have this opportunity and to support them and honor them and their family and all that they've put in. It's an honor for Bobby and I to do that.
And I thought one of the really cool things was yesterday I was over at Jonathan So's signing from the Prescott boys golf team, and he'll be going to Embry-Riddle. And the really cool thing is that this is the third year in a row where a Prescott golfer has signed to play for Embry-Riddle. Last year was Evan Cross. The year before it was Scotty Jackson. I mean, what does that say about the kind of program that Coach Osterloh is running where he's able to get three of his kids not only go on to play college golf, but play it right here in basically Prescott High School's backyard?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, they obviously share the same field, over at Antelope, and so both teams kind of interact and cross paths, see each other, throughout the year. So they're definitely like aware of who our athletes are, and and they are pretty smart, in my opinion, picking off some of these kids that are maybe like overlooked because they do live in northern Arizona and not in Phoenix or Tucson. And I think that it's pretty cool to see what Coach Oshalo has done with these developing these golfers and developing his program into one of the strongest programs we have on campus.
They talk about players who are smart, and one of those athletes that is pretty smart is Maxwell McVickers. He had his signing earlier this week, and oh boy, it might take me the rest of this segment to go through the name of the college he's going through, but he's going to the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis, whose mascot are the Eutectics. Now, before we go on, I will just, in fact, I'm actually quoting from my book, actually. You're Called the What? Weird, Funny, and Dumb Team Names. I actually have this school in there. But basically, a eutectic is the process by which two solids are combined to form a liquid. And somehow the school decided that would be a good mascot name. But mascot name aside, Coach, definitely a great opportunity there for Max to not only go to a really good school, a very science medical-oriented school, but also a school that also offers him the opportunity to keep playing volleyball.
Yeah, it's so incredible. I mean, Max, anybody that's met Max is just super lucky. He's just a wonderful young man, and he's such and a hard worker, both in his sports and in his schoolwork. Just driven, just kind of one of those, like, if you were to pick like your epitome of what you want a student athlete to look like, Max, Jonathan, both of them are great examples. And I'm just really excited for what they're going to do and their future, because their future is so much more than just their sports, but it's also, what they're going to become. But I love that sports is the conduit to help them to reach those goals.
And I thought the really interesting story, and I think it was you who said it at Max's signing, was that Max didn't even start playing volleyball until he was in high school and just suddenly got really good at it to the point where a college wanted to recruit him. So I guess that's a great example to a lot of athletes out there that say, hey, even if you are a late bloomer, there could be colleges out there who are interested in you. Yeah, they may not be Division I schools, but there are a lot of really good Division III schools, a lot of really good NAIA schools out there that could want your services.
Absolutely, I preach this over and over and over to our student athletes that if they want to play sports at the next level, there's opportunities out there for them. There's so much more than just Division I, and obviously, it's such a small number of students around the country that actually make it to the Division I. But there are so many other great schools, great programs out there, all different kinds of levels that would allow athletes to continue to play. I think most people, obviously, college is super expensive these days and often out of reach for a lot of people. So factoring that in is a big part of it, but it is definitely, if sports are your thing, there's somewhere for you.
Yeah, and of course there's somewhere for Riley Schroeder. She had her signing last week from the state runner-up Prescott girls soccer team. And another really cool thing is that she'll be able to continue her her soccer career at college right here in Arizona, going down to Park University, where we had another former Prescott standout soccer player go, and that was Emma Alvarez.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love seeing our home in-state schools, come and find student athletes in Arizona. I think sometimes it feels like colleges think they can only look out of state, but we have tremendous student athletes in Arizona, and I love when these coaches recognize that there's quite a bit of talent up here in northern Arizona that is not necessarily always tapped into because they're not as visible as some of the schools in the valley are. So I think it's super smart. We love it. We love seeing these kids being able to play kind of close to home where we can watch them and hear how they're doing and see them. So it's a neat thing.
Yeah, and of course we got some more signings on the way here. Excuse me. Coming up soon, we've got Onwin Smith, who had a great career for Prescott Swim. She's going to be going to Wisconsin Eau Claire. Delaney Lucas. She's going to be signing with Laramie County Community College for soccer. We also have Zane Gall, we already knew about him going to Hawaii Pacific, but he'll have his official signing coming up later this month. Ray Barrett from the volleyball team, she'll be signing with Centenary University soon. Colton Champion, another one who's going to be staying in Arizona to continue playing baseball. He'll be signing with Arizona Christian University, which means we'll probably see him up here playing for Embry-Riddle. And then we have Ivan Schuster, also from the baseball team, and he'll actually be heading close to my old neck of the woods. He'll be playing for Allegheny College over in Pennsylvania. So, holy crud, Missy, just a whole ton of Prescott athletes who are going to be signing to go to college.
Yeah, it was kind of amazing. Bobby and I were talking about this yesterday. She pulled the list for me, and we have, in this senior class, this is a tremendous senior class of student athletes, we have 25 four-year lettermen. So 25 of our student athletes in this senior class participated in a varsity sport for 4 years in high school. I think it's our highest number that I've had since I've been AD. And it's just, you're seeing that in the signings. And I think we'll continue to see even more that will add to the list here in the next several weeks. I know we've had several that have come in and are looking to schedule. And it's just such a fun thing to see and to honor and to celebrate, and that's why we do it a little bit different at Prescott. You know, we let each kid have their own separate signings so that can be special and focused on them and their family and recognize them. It's just, I think, important to recognize all the hard work that's gone into it and to make it a one-on-one situation instead of, you know, lining everyone up and having everyone do it at once. I really love doing it this way, and Bobby is such a big part of making sure that it happens and organizing and setting them up. So we're just excited for this class of 2025 that are just killing it.
And Missy, I don't know if you got a chance to catch my monologue at the top of the show. I was talking about an incident with former Embry-Riddle women's basketball coach Becky Burke, now at University at Buffalo. She was on the phone with a potential recruit, said, "Hey, I want you to come to Buffalo." And this recruit tells her, "Well, you need to talk to my agent." And after Coach Burke heard that, she just said, "Okay, thank you, bye," hung up the phone. And it goes into what I've said it many times on this show before, that when college coaches are looking for players, it's not just the talent. It's not just the stats they're looking at. They're also looking at what their attitude is like, what their body language is like, what kind of person they are, their character. When you're talking to juniors or seniors over at Prescott High School who want to go on and play at the next level, how much do you emphasize how important it is for them to be good people, to have good attitudes, and that is what a lot more college coaches are looking at these days?
I'm glad you asked that question, John, because I think that is something that college coaches and even employers and employees are looking for in people that they hire and that they bring in. And this is the fundamental of education-based athletics. You know, one of our core purposes of our athletic department in high school sports is personal development, character development, helping young people recognize and learn the skills that will make them a better person and a stronger, more valuable contributing person to society. And that happens through character development, and it happens through skills that are connected to the sports that they're learning, so that it becomes real life application. We preach this over and over and over, and it's one of the things that probably our student athletes are like. I feel like they could give the elevator speech because we talk about it so much, and our coaches buy into it, and it's why we exist in high school sports. We're different than college. We're different than club. We have our own separate niche, and a big part of that is helping our student athletes become better people, not just better athletes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that recruit that Coach Burke talked to, hopefully one day she will learn that, because that recruit lost a pretty good opportunity to play at University at Buffalo, a team that's vying for the WNIT championship, and you got to wonder, with an attitude like that, how many other opportunities is this recruit going to lose? Well, Missy, I want to thank. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to throw in, John, that as soon as you start throwing money into equations like they have with NIL and other things, unfortunately, it drives a different type of person.
Yeah. My feeling is it's not the money that makes you a putz factory. It's like you were already a putz factory before you got money from NIL. That money just makes you an even bigger putz factory than you already are. Well, Missy, I want to thank you very much for joining us here on Tri-City Sports Roundup this morning, and certainly all the best to all those Prescott seniors who are going to be signing to play at college for next season.
Thank you, John. Thanks for showing up for them as well. It's really cool.
Hey, you got it, Missy. You have yourself a good one.
You too.
Okay. Missy Townsend, Athletic Director at Prescott High School. Well, we're coming up to a break here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. But as always, before we go to break, it's time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Kinsey Murphy of the Chino Valley softball team. She fanned 12 in a winning effort in the Lady Cougars' 4-3 triumph over Kingman last Friday. The number 2 star is Gracie Pereira of the Prescott softball team. She was the winning pitcher with 8 strikeouts in the Lady Badgers' 13-1 thrashing of ALA Gilbert North last Friday. Then on Thursday, Pereira got the win, striking out 10 and driving in 3 runs in Prescott's 19-1 demolition of Agua Fria. And our number 1 star of the week is Cody Statler of the Bradshaw Mountain softball team. Code Red fanned 18 in the Lady Bears' 3-0 triumph over Prescott Monday. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is Garrison Jones of the Bradshaw Mountain baseball team. He had 3 RBIs in the Bears' 5-4 win over Prescott Monday. The number 2 star is Michael Colasano of the Chino Valley track and field team. He placed first in the pole vault at the SaberCat Relays last Saturday. And our number 1 star of the week is Blake Moore of the Embry-Riddle baseball team. He had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs in the Eagles doubleheader split with Hope International last Saturday. Congratulations to our 3 stars of the week. Break time here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. When we come back, we're going to be talking tennis with Bradshaw Mountain coach Andy Miraz. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here this morning on this. Well, now it's a nice Saturday. It looked like we might have a chance of some rain later on the day? Hopefully not. I think we've had enough of rain and snow over the last few days. And besides, it's really, really messing up a lot of sports schedules around here, including the sports schedule of Bradshaw Mountain Tennis. And we're going to be talking to the boys coach, Andy Mraz. He's on line 2 with us right now. So let's go to the phones. Hey, Coach Mraz, how you doing today?
Good morning, John. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Things are fine for me. And, well, like I said, Coach, the last actually 2-3 weeks, we kind of had a really dry winter. And then as we get to the end of winter, the beginning of spring, the winter weather decides, you know what? I think it's time I make a really late appearance here. So just tell us how much all this nasty weather has impacted both the Bradshaw boys and girls tennis teams over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
We have had some great weather early in the season. It was just like some the best weather we've had, and then all of a sudden the last week and a half, we just got hammered here with some cancellations, and now we have to reschedule. We've got some matches coming up next week that were supposed to be last week, so it's been crazy here the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. I was going to say, when that happens, I can imagine rescheduling these things aren't very easy. Just talk about the process and I guess some of the agita that goes into having to postpone a match and then figuring out, well, where can we make it up?
In a lot of situations, what we end up doing is, especially if it's a Phoenix team, we'll say, let's take the boys and girls both down to Phoenix because ideally the weather there is going to be better than here. And so we've done that in a few of our matches. When we anticipate a storm coming in, we'll get a hold of the team and say, we can bring both teams down, and then we don't have to deal with the weather here in Prescott Valley. We know what the weather can be like here just in the last couple of days, where it's ideal, and then all of a sudden a storm will just come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Prescott did that a few days ago. I think they were playing Paradise Honors and had both their teams down there. And, yeah, that's great for Phoenix, but what happens if, say, the game's up in Flagstaff against Flag or Coconino? It's like, well, we're going to have nasty weather here, and you guys are going to have it worse up there.
And that just happened, on Thursday. And so those matches at Flagstaff and even the one here against Flagstaff just got rescheduled to next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, Bradshaw Mountain. Right now, you guys are 3-4 overall in the season, but it looks like things are starting to turn a corner for you guys. You had a really good win to start off the month of April, 7-2 over Deer Valley. So as we are now in April, as you're heading into the stretch run for the season, just your thoughts on how you feel things have been going for Bradshaw Mountain boys tennis.
Well, this year is kind of a transition year. Last year we made it to the state tournament, and we had 4 seniors and 2 juniors, so we were really super solid. So, and then this year we've got now 2 returning seniors and 4 new guys. Literally, in February, I was showing them how to grip a racket and how to take a ground stroke. And these kids have now competed at the varsity level and done very well. And so we're starting the first 2 matches. It was an experience. We got beat pretty handily in the first couple matches, but like you said, we're turning the corner, and I think we're seeing a lot of improvement.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the things that maybe a lot of people out there don't realize when it comes to, say, a sport like tennis. One of those high school sports that doesn't get the same kind of spotlight that, say, basketball or baseball would, because when you're dealing with basketball and baseball, once you get up to the high school level, probably 99% of those kids have already played at the middle school level, the club level, the little league level, or the YMCA level. So they already know how to handle a basketball. They already know how to handle a baseball, where sometimes when you get to high school tennis, and I'm sure Sterling Fetty over at Prescott can say the same stories over there too. Sometimes you get guys coming out to the court and they go, "Hey, coach, I want to play tennis. By the way, what's a racket?"
Yeah, what are the rules of the game? It's come up almost every match where a kid will say, my guy will say, I've been playing for 2 months, and he'll go against the guy that's been playing for 10 years. And we're competitive. And I said, you guys are competitive because you're athletes and you're picking up the sport and you're working hard. And I'm showing them that, down the road, in just a couple of years, these kids are going to be up there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you mentioned your two returning seniors, and those would be Nathan Kleinman and Peter Dodoff, and they've been doing well for you. And I imagine in their position, well, along with you helping out, some of these newcomers to tennis, I'm sure Nathan and Peter, they also have to take a role in that, being senior leaders on their team.
Yeah, Nathan Kleinman is our team captain. He's been a starter for the last 4 years, and he is the ultimate team leader. This is a kid that will assist kids on how to serve, ground strokes. He's constantly helping out in extremely positive in every aspect, and Peter will too. And I can't. These seniors definitely have a really good leadership, which has been critical to such a young team.
Mm-hmm. And tennis is one of those sports where it's not like a lot of other sports. In fact, I had a couple of players from Prescott in here last week, and we were talking about the aspect of it's really the players who kind of referee themselves, and a lot of times the coaches kind of stay off to the side. They're only over there if a player requests them to come over and get some advice. So just talk about kind of that, what it's like to coach tennis at the high school level. What are some of the things you do? And I guess what are some of the things you can't do as a coach?
Coaching at the high school level with the tennis is really just a lot of just teaching. And being an educator myself, it was just an easy transition just to teach the sport, the basic rules. And as the match progresses, there's not a lot we can say as coaches. We can't give individual coaching during most of the match. There's what we call a changeover when in between games and stuff where you can talk to them. But for the most part, it's them on the match. And a lot of times my advice to them is, tell me what you think the best strategy for you to do at this point is to do to win this match or to be successful. So I let them try to explore what their best options are.
Mm-hmm. And along with the boys, Bradshaw Mountain girls, who I believe it's your brother who coaches them, Matt Mraz. They've also been having a really good season. They're 5-2 right now. So just give us a little insight into the girls' side.
Yeah, my brother does coach the girls' team, and unlike the boys who don't have a lot of seniors, this is a very senior-heavy girls' team with Lucy Keys kind of leading the show, and Maggie is in the number 2 spot, and they're doing really, really well. Lots of improvement. The girls have worked really hard in the off season. We were doing a lot of off season, and the girls showed up at a lot of the off season training, and it's showing on the court.
Mm-hmm. And we mentioned about how many times you get new players in there, players who've never really played tennis before. So talk about what it's like coaching the tennis team and just trying to get enough players out there to fill a roster, and just trying to make sure that there's some kind of interest among students at Bradshaw Mountain High School for tennis.
I think we've done a pretty good job recruiting. When I first started 4 years ago, the boys varsity team had 5. And we're now at close to 30 with boys and girls combined. And so we've got a large girls team contingency of girls, and the boys team, we can fill both our varsity and JV spots, which is pretty cool that we are able to do that now. And again, a lot of these kids are very inexperienced and they're first-timers, and we're starting to build a middle school program that we can now transition into the high school. So it's starting to happen. I think that we've had some good players in the past. AJ Moraz last year was a solid player, and Nathan Kleinman definitely leaving a good legacy for the next generation.
Okay. And then, of course, Coach, you've got quite a few matches coming up here soon to end the season. Like you said, you got that makeup with Flagstaff. You also got Goldwater coming up next week. And you got a few other matches like Horizon. You got Mingus High School. And then hard to believe that the regular season is going to end on April 22nd. You got Cactus Shadows. So just talk about your thoughts on what these last few matches for Bradshaw are going to look like.
I honestly see that, we've got the potential to win 4, maybe possibly 5 of these matches. Honestly, Flagstaff's having a little bit of a down year, and on paper, we've got some potential to maybe pull out some wins here. We struggle against some of the higher level teams, but I think that we are putting together a good run here, and hopefully we can keep that up.
And you talked about off season. So, what are the plans for you and your brother to get your returning players a lot of time, not just practice time, but maybe some actual competition time during the off season to get them ready for 2026?
There's a lot of junior events locally, and so we encourage that. We run a program. We do summer camps. We do off-season training, and so we do everything we can to encourage kids to get out there, because if you're not hitting that ball every day, you definitely can kind of forget how to do it. And so it definitely can lead to the more you're out there, the better you're going to get.
Okay. Well, Andy Miraz, he is the head coach of the Bradshaw Mountain boys tennis team. And, Coach, I want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup this morning and giving everyone a little more info on how things are going for both the Bradshaw Mountain boys and girls tennis teams. And certainly best of luck to the Bears and Lady Bears, and hopefully both teams will be seeing them in the state tournament.
All right. Thank you, John, for your time.
You got it. Have yourself a good one, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, well, again, folks, plenty of sports coming up on our sports station, the team, 1450 AM, KNOT. Of course, today, big one. It is the NCAA Final Four. We've got the Final Four preview starting at noon. Then the games will be starting at 1 p.m. We, of course, have Duke versus Houston and Auburn and Florida. And on Monday, we will have the NCAA National Championship game for you, the preview show at 3. Broadcast for the game begins at 4 p.m. Also, tomorrow, we have the NCAA Women's National Championship game. That gets underway at 11:30 a.m. over on the team, 1450 a.m. In fact, it's going to be a dual day of basketball and baseball. Because after the Women's National Championship game tomorrow, we've got Major League Baseball on the team. We've got St. Louis versus Boston. So, man, oh, man, got a whole ton of really, really good sports coming up for you on our sports station, the team, 1450 AM, KNOT. Again, we just started that sports station a few months ago. Got a lot more plans for it going ahead in the future. Hopefully putting a lot more local stuff on there as well. So again, stay with us, and we'll keep you briefed on what is happening with our sports station, the team, 1450 AM, KNOT. Meanwhile, here on KYCA, more local talk coming up for you here. At 9 o'clock, we've got Healthline with Dr. David Hancock. Then at 10, it is Drive Time AZ. Get all your automotive questions and concerns answered there. Then 11, we've got Eye on Prescott. So a whole morning of local talk. And then when the local talk is done here on KYCA, well, you can tune on over. You can tune into the Team 1450, and you can get everything ready there for our for the national tournament Final Four. Again, Houston versus Duke and Auburn versus Florida. And I have to say, go Houston, because Houston is my pick to win it all in the national championship. And, of course, we got our, like I said at the beginning, we got our Fatal Four-Way on the Lisa Live show, weekdays at 9 here on KYCA. Lisa's picking Duke. I'm picking Houston. Maddie's picking Auburn. Drew's picking Florida. And, well, we'll see what happens on Monday. Who will come in smiling and who will come in all depressed because their pick did not succeed. Hopefully I'll be in Monday with a big smile on my face because Houston beat Duke, but we'll find out. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for joining us here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup, and we will see you again next week on the show. Till then, have yourselves a good one.